Good evening to everyone. So my question also goes in that area. As a child growing up, we were told like we should know you want to be an accountant, a doctor. So some of us tulimkwezu lakati.
Yes.
So my question goes, how do I help my children to kwezu at an early age compared to who is doing it right now? So
Okay.
in terms of career wise, doing different careers,
Yes.
not only to focus on books, they can thrive both in books and other things that they're gifted with.
Okay. Now, that's a very, very, very good question because that is the foundation of everything. And if your child is going to flourish in the world, they should be able to understand from when they are young that being curious is not a problem. Okay? Being curious is not a problem. So when they ask questions, make sure, for example, you can turn down a child from asking too many questions by just telling them that, you know what, you've asked the same question 5 different ways. So let me answer it once. Or can you hold on for 5 minutes? I finish whatever I am doing. So, and maybe make sure that you keep your promise. You come back and answer or respond, okay? So that you don't just respond anyhow every time they're asking anything. But to go back to her question, number one, you should be able to nurture confident children. Confident children, because it's a confident child that can look into your eyes and tell you that, Mommy, I want to be a musician. Okay? That means as a parent, you have to be informed and open-minded. You don't have to be locked in like what our parents used to do. Because I think if I had explained to my mother and told her I want to be a speaker, I think she would have called me and should have chased demons out of me. Because maybe she didn't know that this could be a career. So I want us to have the open minds as parents. I want us to be able to not research, but keep following the trends. How are people gaining and being paid? That I'm a TikTok influencer. How does that work? Now, instead of being rigid, be open-minded to understand the spheres of influence and the operations. So that when these things come, there is a child that the mother brought a child to office, and the mother brought the child for counseling. So I asked this child, do you know the reason as to why your mother has brought you here? It was a boy, and he was 17. So the boy was like, it's because my mother wants me to be a lawyer. But me, I have told my mother, I am going to do law for her and hand her degree. And then I'm going to go back and be a footballer. So I asked him at 19, 18, have you played football before? I last played football when I was in primary. My parents told me to concentrate on school and reading books. They didn't want me. But whenever I see people in the field, I feel I am dying. I feel I want to get into the field and do something. And I realized there was a problem. And that problem was it had taken too long, okay? And this parent didn't know how to redeem herself. So this is what happens. The child will disappear from home early in the morning, but promised her, don't worry, I am going to give you your law degree, but I will go back and do my football. So I had to take him on the side and tell him that, you know what, football lifespan is really limited. If you're starting at 19, half the time, the people that have been in soccer academies, they started young, okay? And so maybe you can do it as a hobby. And I'm not saying that you should do law, but you should find something that you find peace in, not because you've been told to actually do. So number one, this parent was not listening. You realize? She was not listening. She didn't want to hear any of it. So don't pretend that you're too wise educating them about what is working and what is not working. Okay? So number one, we should be able to listen. I'm not saying that listen to everything that they say, but when they listen, you are able to guide them. Because when a child says that, you know what, I love, for example, Ariel, he's 3. But the way he plays football, he plays better than a 10-year-old. So I'm thinking, I'm enrolling him into an academy just for fun, for weekends. Let him grow doing what he wants, and he will read somewhere and say, Mommy, I don't want football. And it's okay. We can explore something else. He doesn't have to do what he doesn't want. But while he wants it, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that he can access the skill and see where it leads him. So I want us to be open-minded. I want us to learn to speak to our children. I want us to let them be confident, teach them to be confident, speak up for themselves, not just listen and listen and listen, okay? And be able to carve in, and then to have a sense of self-worth and self-esteem, and know that I matter, and whatever I have to speak really matters. And then explore the options with them. Explore the options with them. Go through as in what's happening and understand. Take them to expose them. And I want us to learn this thing. It's very hard to do in this industry, or I mean in the industry of parenting. It's also an industry. It's very hard to do. But the way we were nurtured, we were so resilient that we would find our way. You realize that even if you're dropped in the forest, you will try to find your way around. Drop a child in this age and era of 16 or 15 years old, they will not find their way out of the forest. They have maybe never taken a boda boda, or if they've taken a boda boda, they have not stayed away without their parents for too long. As in, we have pampered our children too much that they don't know what to decide. And we have told them, we are going to figure out everything for you, so stay in the lane. So the idea is not figuring out everything for them. Do you remember we used to take bank slips and pay our own bank school fees? Who of the parents in this age and era lets their children pay school fees? The child goes to school, you even screenshot the bank slip. You don't trust your 10-year-old or 15-year-old to take the bank slip to school. You screenshot it and send it to the principal or the bursar. But you're the one, parents are lining up in banks to pay their children's school fees. But at our age, primary, if the school said you're paying to the bank, we used to go to the bank and line up and pay and learn to fill in. Right now, a child of 15 years does not know how to fill a bank slip. So we need a lot to teach our children a lot. We can spend the whole night on this topic, but exposure, listening, intentional parenting, okay? Not bringing up your children the same, that because I handled this one like this, then everyone is the same. No, all your children are not the same. They are different. They have different personality traits, different likings, different giftings, different callings. So you can actually see, because from childhood, my mother, right now, if he sits and tells me, I started being a speaker while I was in nursery. So how about we become intentional as parents in this age and era? Be very, very, very intentional. It's very possible to bring up smart children. It's very possible to bring up thriving children and flourishing children. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with us, the journey of growth. Thank you for sharing this space with us. If you have questions as well, please send them through on our social media platforms. Bahati Hilda, all the way, Bahati Hilda Sabiti. You'll find me everywhere. Make sure that you tag me. Make sure you send your question. Make sure that your voice is heard. And indeed, we will make sure that we read out those questions and make sure that we answer those questions. We don't want to leave you behind. We want to grow with you. So please come on this journey with us. And until next time, from us to you is a bye-bye.